brand refresh called Project Mint. He presented the campaign to the Student Government Association and the Board of Trustees last week. Brown said that the campaign received positive reactions from both groups.
The physician assistant program's pass rate is higher than the national average. Marywood's physician assistant graduates from the class of 2017 earned a 100% first-time pass rate on the physician assistant national certifying exam. Students must pass the test to be licensed in all 50 states. The national pass state average was 97% last year.
Students involved in campus ministry are using snowballs to raise money. The campus ministry office hosted the second annual snowball roll last Thursday. Profits from the event benefited the Alternative Break Service Trip program. Participants purchased snowballs, which were really ping pong balls, for $2 each to enter the race. Roll down University Avenue to finish the race. To finish the line, participants whose snowballs crossed the line first won prizes.
A Marywood professor who is also an author published a new book. TVM's Rachel Looker has the story.
Marywood-University English professor Bill Conlog explored the topic of coal mining in the Scranton area and around Marywood-University in his new book, Undermined in Coal Country.
Well, I'd always been interested in the history of the region, and of course, I'm interested in the history of the university, and it was interesting to discover how they overlapped, thinking about how both were confronting coal mining in the 19th and 20th centuries.
Conlog described the impact mining had on Marywood's campus.
I thought it was interesting that we had some mine subsidences on campus, and that there was a mine fire in the 1930s that threatened the existence of the school for a little while. And that when they built the ball field in, I don't know, a dozen years ago, they uncovered mine openings. There was a mine subsidence in the pit parking lot about a dozen years ago that opened up a space about as big as a car.
Conlog described what he thinks is the main theme from his book.
It's a book about mining in the region and about mining under campus. I think about the importance of institutions like Marywood to respond to environmental destruction, which is really what was going on in the valley at the time.
For TVM-News, Rachel Looker.
Students are auditioning to be part of a classic fairy tale. Marywood's music, theater, and dance department will hold auditions tomorrow for the ballet Cinderella. The auditions will be held in the Center for Athletics and Wellness, room 230 at 11 a.m. Point experience is preferred but not required. Cinderella will be performed May 4th and 5th.
A former Scranton CEO is behind bars for bank fraud. Find out who after this.
TVM-News is sponsored in part by Bella Spazio Salon and Day Spa located in Scott Township. Bella Spazio offers a variety of salon and beauty services. Check out Bella Spazio Salon and Day Spa on Facebook or go to bellaspaziospa.com.
What this place needs is better graduation rate.
What this place needs is less childhood obesity.
What this place needs is free help with taxes.
What this place needs is healthy breakfast.
What this place needs is fitness programs for kids. What this place needs is early readers.
What this place needs is mentors for teens.
What this place needs is people to join us. What this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea. You got it.
You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I dare you. I dare you to change the world. Yeah, getting that college education.
I dare you to be somebody important.
Like be a teacher or a reality TV stand up here, to call the shots,
To be a role model.
Inspiration.
An innovator.
to be a teacher.
Think you can change my life?
Make me excited about science like you. Have a career that really means something? Then do it. I dare you.
Welcome back to TVM News. The former CEO of PenFed Credit Union is now behind bars after swindling more than $700,000 from the financial firm. Sean Jalen was sentenced to nearly 6 years for bank fraud. Jalen, who suffers from Crohn's disease, asked to start his prison term after scheduled surgery next week. The judge denied the request and ordered Jalen to begin his sentence immediately.
The Scranton School District wants to know if criminal activity is a possible reason for its financial deficit. The school board sent a letter to the Lackawanna County District Attorney asking for an investigation into any criminal actions that could be related to the financial problems. The school's debt has now resulted in the layoff of 51 teachers. A state audit revealed wasteful spending within the district for years. The district attorney's office has not yet decided if it will open a probe.
Nearly 1,500 nurses are threatening to strike at 3 local hospitals. Nurses at First Hospital in Kingston, Moses Taylor in Scranton, and Wilkes-Barre General recently voted to authorize a 10-day strike notice if necessary. Contracts have expired and nurses are concerned about a lack of progress with negotiations. If these negotiations with community health systems officials fail, the nurses will strike. Union officials say a strike is not imminent.
Scranton resident Sheila Bronson is going to prison after stealing $500,000 from 2 convenience stores in Lackawanna County. She was sentenced between 6 and 13 years in prison after stealing from Cousins Convenient Marts in Jessup and Einan while she was employed as the business bookkeeper. A judge ordered Bronson to pay back the money that she stole.
A North Scranton doctor is under investigation after federal agents raided his office last week. Agents with the Drug Enforcement Agency hauled numerous boxes from Dr. Kerr Morin's office on Greenridge Street. Federal agents say they were serving a warrant for Dr. Morin's patient files, but would not go into further detail.
The former office manager at Scranton Dodge Collision and Repair Center is facing theft charges after stealing more than $20,000 from the business. Lynn Salzman was fired last year after it was discovered that she had been transferring money from overpayments on repair orders to cover a bill her daughter owed to the repair center. Salzman used the remaining money to pay a past-due mortgage and other debts. Salzman is free on $20,000 unsecured bail.
Scranton residents are celebrating a Super Bowl win from the Philadelphia Eagles. Before the game even began, members of the volunteer hose company in Thorpe made chicken wings for the community to bring home for their Super Bowl parties. This is the 12th year volunteer firefighters made chicken wings, receiving the largest order in history for last weekend's game. They prepared over 1,400 pounds of wings for 1,000 orders. After the Eagles scored the game-winning touchdown, Scranton priest and Eagles fan Father Cyril Edwards showed his excitement for the Eagles' victory by ringing the church bells at the Mary Mother of God Parish in North Scranton. Father Edwards said Eagles fans represent a good lesson in faith by following the team through ups and downs.
A vacant button factory will soon be the new home of the Scranton Counseling Center. The Southside factory will undergo a $10 million renovation expected to be completed in the first half of 2019. A project grant application says moving the counseling center from buildings on Adams Avenue to the new location will benefit clients and employees.
2 new vendors are coming to downtown Scranton. Grateful Roast Cafe and Coffee Roaster and Torteria El Buen Amigo will set up shop at the Scranton Public Market in March. The vendors will open at the former food court at the marketplace at Steamtown. They will join the new Soup Chick at the market this spring.
We'll be right back with more on the SpaceX rocket launch, but first, here's your 7-day forecast.
TVM News is sponsored in part by Bella Spazio Salon and Day Spa located in Scott Township. Bella Spazio offers a variety of salon and beauty services. Check out Bella Spazio Salon and Day Spa on Facebook or go to bellaspasiospa.com.
I dare you to change the world. Yeah, getting that college education.
I dare you to be somebody important.
Like be a teacher.
Or a reality. I dare you to stand up here.
To call.
To be a role model.
Inspiration. An innovator.
Be a teacher.
Think you can change my life?
Make me excited about science. You
Have a career that really means something.
can do it.
I dare you.
What this place needs is better graduation rates.
What this place needs is less childhood obesity.
What this place needs is free help with taxes.
What this place needs is healthy breakfast.
What this place needs is fitness programs for kids. What this place needs is early readers.
What this place needs is mentors for teens.
What this place needs is people to join us. What this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea. Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Thank you for tuning in to TVM News. The Falcon Heavy rocket is helping to launch SpaceX into a new age with its liftoff Tuesday from Cape Canaveral. Inside the rocket was a red Tesla Roadster with a dummy in a spacesuit behind the wheel. The rocket's payload is intended to fly near Mars one day. Falcon Heavy is more powerful than any current rocket.
An Amtrak train traveling from New York to Miami crashed into a freight train early Sunday morning in South Carolina. A rail switch that changes the direction of the train was manually programmed to divert the Amtrak to a sidetrack. The freight train was sitting empty on the sidetrack and stationary at the time of the incident. 2 Amtrak employees were killed and 116 people were injured. The company is investigating why the switch was programmed to redirect the train.
The Dow is continuing to plunge, dropping 1,000 points yesterday afternoon. The stock market saw historic plunges last week, but seemed to turn around on Tuesday when the Dow surged to 567 points. Wall Street is still nervously watching the bond market, where the trouble started last week.
A small town in West Virginia is dealing with an opioid problem. Pharmacies dispensed more than 20 million prescription painkillers over the past decade in Williamson, West Virginia, which has just over 3,000 residents. This is the equivalent of 6,500 prescription painkillers per person. Doctors and regional drug wholesalers are accused of flooding the town with addictive opioids. One drug wholesaler declined to comment on the issue. Another claimed congressional letters sent to companies asking why large amounts of pills were being sent to Williamson were misleading.
President Donald Trump approved the release of a once classified memo written by House Republicans that allegedly questions the FBI's investigation into Russia influencing the 2016 presidential election. The document alleges that FBI officials abused their power by looking to wiretap a Trump campaign official. The Democrats have their own memo, which seeks to undermine Republican claims. Democratic Representative from California, Adam Schiff, explained the purpose for the Democratic memo.
We think this will help inform the public of the many distortions and inaccuracies in the majority memo. We have also asked, as a part of our transmittal to the White House, that unlike the process that was used with the majority memo, that the Department of Justice and FBI be consulted, that they have the opportunity to vet any information that they may be concerned about in our memo in terms of sources and methods.
President Trump has the final say if the Democratic memo will be released, and it is predicted he will release it, possibly with parts blacked out.
A 12-year-old girl faces felony charges after opening fire in a Los Angeles middle school, leaving 4 students and 1 adult injured. She will be charged with being a minor in possession of a firearm, bringing a weapon to school grounds, and negligent discharge of a firearm. The girl had a semi-automatic gun that has been confiscated. Police are unsure what caused the shooting and are investigating if it was unintentional. The girl is being held at the Los Angeles County Central Juvenile Hall. The victims are expected to recover.
Robert Wagner is still a person of interest in the death of Natalie Wood. Authorities said the actor has refused to speak to investigators since the case reopened in 2011. In a press release last Monday, Lieutenant John Carina of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's Homicide Bureau said that the details given by Wagner do not add up to the evidence found. Los Angeles Police Department Captain Christopher Bergner explained the reasoning for the investigation of Wagner.
Yes, of course, we want to talk to Robert Wagner. You bet. We would love to hear his side of his version of events. The version of events he's portrayed in the media, I think, what he told us, the original investigators, and what he's portrayed since then, really don't add up to what we found.
The cause of death was changed in 2012 from accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors due to the bruises found on Wood's body.
Nationwide job growth continues. The U.S. added 200,000 jobs in January, making 88 consecutive months of job increases. Wages have seen a steady rise, with the average hourly pay rising 9 cents to $26.74 per hour. Unemployment has held consistent at 4.1%.
The Department for the Center for Disease Control and Prevention is stepping down after what a statement said were, quote, complex financial interests that may limit her doing her job. Dr. Brenda Fitzgerald announced her resignation after reports surfaced that she purchased tobacco stock after joining the CDC. Dr. Fitzgerald's investments had previously been questioned after she bought stock in a pharmaceutical company. Dr. Ann Schucke will serve as acting director until a replacement is confirmed.
A new study is finding white supremacist groups are flocking to more college campuses. The Anti-Defamation League released the study showing white supremacist groups have targeted campuses to attract new members. According to the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism, there have been more than 300 instances in which supremacist propaganda has appeared on campuses across the country since September 2016.
The Food and Drug Administration is reviewing its policy on animal studies. The FDA shut down a nicotine addiction study after it resulted in the death of 4 squirrel monkeys. The nearly 30 remaining animals will be placed in a permanent sanctuary home. The FDA is working to establish an animal welfare council to oversee all animal research done under the agency.
Up next, we'll check in with TVM sports anchor Nicolo Manzo. Stay tuned.
TVM-News is sponsored in part by Bella Spazio Salon and Day Spa located in Scott Township. Bella Spazio offers a variety of salon and beauty services. Check out Bella Spazio Salon and Day Spa on Facebook or go to bellaspaziospa.com.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans. Finally, right? How'd you manage that anyway? I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits. Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I... What, have you tried saving a little? I want to, but where's that money going to come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league? Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt. There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans. Finally, right? How'd you manage that anyway? I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits. Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it. Well, have you tried saving a little? I want to, but where's that money going to come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back to TVM News. Let's check in with TVM sports anchor Nicolo Manzo for Marywood Sports. So Nicolo, what's new in Marywood athletics?
Well, Hannah, Pacers are not only proving themselves on the field, but in the classroom, too.
Oh, wow. In what ways?
Well, 80 Marywood student athletes were named to the Colonial States Athletic Conference Fall All-Academic Team. That's roughly 69% of all Pacer athletes earning that honor. An athlete must maintain a 3.2 grade point average for one full season of eligibility to qualify. The women's soccer team led all teams with 27 honorees. The men's basketball team is fighting for its playoff life. Sitting 2 games back in the loss column for a CSAC playoff berth at the start of the week, the Pacers got a break from conference play. The team traveled to Jamaica, New York on Saturday for a matchup with York College in the CUNYAC CSAC Challenge. The Pacers came up short, dropping a tight contest 58-55. Junior Tip Schwartz led the Pacers with 18 points. Following their brief pause from conference play, the men found themselves trying to snap a 3-game losing streak against CSAC foe Centenary University just last night. The Pacers went wire to wire, prevailing 66-58 to keep their playoff hopes alive. The team was led by, well, you guessed it, Tip Schwartz's game-high 22 points. Marywood travels to Gwynedd-Mercy tomorrow for a critical CSAC tilt. While the men find themselves in a tough spot, the women have already clinched the CSAC playoff berth. The team soundly defeated Notre Dame of Maryland-University 78-60 behind Gab Giordano's 23 points. And then Giordano continued her banner week last night by joining the 1,000-point club on her birthday. In a game that saw shots falling at a blistering pace, the Pacers defeated Centenary 90-78 behind Giordano's game-high 30 points. The women will also be at Gwynedd-Mercy tomorrow. It's a bad time to be a Marywood track and field record holder, as this year's team continues shattering record after record. Sunday's Ithaca College Bomber Invitational saw an incredible 11 school records and 24 personal records set. The men's distance medley relay team took 10 seconds off the previous school record time. David Haynes then followed up his medley by shaving 10 seconds off the school record for the mile. It was Haynes' 3rd school record. Tim Hackenberg broke 2 school records in the high jump and heptathlon, while Lindsay Gladden wasted no time setting the school record in her 1st pentathlon. No team scoring was kept. The track and field team will be back in Ithaca this weekend when they meet Cornell University. The celebration is still going on in Philadelphia as the city's Eagles captured their 1st Super Bowl championship. In a high-scoring back-and-forth contest, the Eagles defeated the New England Patriots 41-33 to avenge their Super Bowl 39 loss to the Pats. Quarterbacks Nick Foles and Tom Brady both shined on the game's biggest stage, while the defenses largely sputtered. The Eagles' defense stepped up late in the game with a strip sack of Brady to help secure the victory. Foles was named Super Bowl 52 Most Valuable Player for guiding the Eagles to their 1st Lombardi Trophy. Many of the world's greatest athletes are taking center stage again. The Olympic torch was lit this morning in Pyeongchang, South Korea, at the opening ceremony for the 23rd Olympic Winter Games. The American delegation was led by Vice President Mike Pence. Notable American Olympians include skiers Michaela Schifrin and Lindsey Vonn, snowboarders Shaun White and Kelly Clark, and Clark Summit native figure skater Adam Rippon. Some of the events have already been held, and the games will conclude on February 25th. That's all for sports this week. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Nicolo. A dog may be collecting unemployment. Michael Ryder of Michigan received a letter stating he was eligible to collect $360 each week in state unemployment benefits from the restaurant where he was supposedly working. However, Michael Ryder is actually a German Shepherd. The letter from the state of Michigan Unemployment Agency was addressed to Michael Ryder, but Ryder is the name of the dog owned by attorney Michael Haddock. They're not sure how the mix-up occurred, but Ryder will not be receiving any money to expand his squeaky toy collection.
That's pretty sad to hear about his toy collection.
I'm sure he's disappointed. That's going to do it for this week's edition of TVM News. From all of us at TV-Marywood, thanks for tuning in.
And be sure to follow TV-Marywood's YouTube page and like the TVM Facebook page to stay up to date on the latest happenings and to watch additional content. I'm Brianna Ryan.
And I'm Hannah Weaver. We'll see you next week.